Hi, today we are going to talk about how to write a web3 game business plan. Um, so this episode is not for people outside of the web3 crypto business. You're in it because you've tried it or you're working on it and you're trying to raise some money and it hasn't been easy. This is a bear market. That's a universal excuse that can apply to everything. But this episode, I'm going to share with you on what I think you can do. All right, we cannot control the bear market, but we can control what we do. Why am I qualified to be recording this video for you? Well, I am advising 2 to 3 VCs, three VCs to be exact, to review proposals. So I have lots and lots of experience in looking at proposals and making recommendations, and I watch proposals got turned down and more or less knowing why. I'm not super seasoned or experienced, but I'm more experienced than probably most of you. And on the other side, I have decades of game production experiences and shipping games and negotiating business deals on the video game side. So again, this is for Web3, and maybe it's, I would say 70% applicable to metaverse projects. So if you're creating a metaverse project proposal, this is somewhat useful too. Okay, there is 2 to 3 episodes again before. There's an episode called Why. I need to craft the title a little better because it's not getting the attention that it should get. But that's actually a very good episode. But it's a little bit high level, and so it's hard to make the audience understand what do I mean by saying why. Why should a GameFi or crypto game project exist? Why should it exist? Why does this world need another crypto game or blockchain game or metaverse? And you have to be really answer that question very well before we proceed. Seriously. And those answers are not only just for you. You need to convince venture capital institutions as well. So that's a very important question, and you need to be able to answer it and answer that well. The why we, why me, why this product, why this project. These are very important. Okay, I'm gonna start. I have 6 points today in this presentation. The first one is called tokenomics, and hopefully you guys know more than I do. And this is the part, to be honest with you, I think this is just an area that you don't make mistakes. You cannot be making mistakes. How do you make it great? I'm not sure. I'm not an expert with tokenomics, but if you're doing Web3, if you are in crypto space, I think you need one. I tend to play it down. Like, we need it, and it needs to be there, it needs to be good enough, it needs to be fair, it needs to be transparent, and you don't break your promises easily. Those are the high levels. But the detailed plumbings of the tokenomics, I don't have more to add. The second one is called communities. So how do you do your community management? Where do you get people? Where do you find people? Who do you have? Who are your community managers? What have they done? How do you manage Web3 communities? And how will you approach Web2 communities? So this, right now, from this point, we're crossing industries. I'm going from crypto to video game business. And I'm not gonna just give you the answers because you guys are just gonna copy that and put it in your proposal without knowing why, without knowing what it is. But I want to tell you, you need to have video game industry professional in your project so they can help you on this, explain this question. How do you promote your game to conventional video game community, and how do you find them? How do you keep them? How do you identify net promoters? There are people, there are KOLs, key opinion leaders within certain community, and if you find that person, how do you reward him or her? How do you identify, and how do you keep him or her helping you guys? And sometimes it's not always about money. So the game communities is one thing, and then the web3 communities is another thing. And I guess I should give you some meat here. And this is my conclusion. So this can potentially save you a lot of grief. Consider your Web3 community as your investors, as your retail investors, and consider your Web2 communities your real game players. That's the difference. So you treat your Web3 communities as your retail investors, and some of the institutional investors will be here as well. So they're your investors, period. And Web2 are your users, your players. So that's a good way. I mean, it's not so clean cut, but it's fairly close. So, I mean, do you want to have a game within Discord, under the project, you want to have an area just for your game players? It's fine. I would recommend you put your Web2, people who are really playing your game, put in there, and investors are somewhere else. Okay, point number 3, your team profile. So you need to have people who have done it before. And this is easily said, but that's what you need. Would you trust someone who's never operated? Would you trust a surgeon who's never operated before? You are his first patient. Like, you wouldn't want to be that patient, right? So, in game industry, I'm quite old school. I'm from EA, Capcom, old school. I'm not the most old school, but I'm old school. And we, in the middle of arguments that we have in our circle, we would go to the other person and say, what hit have you made? How many games have you shipped? What did you do on those projects? So we are, the game community game industry is this. Our jobs are on the line. We have to ship the game on time. So if we get a loser on our team, and that loser is going to drop the ball, and everyone on the team project will be affected. In game industry, Christmas is important, or it has been important. So the deadline is sacred, it's holy. You can't mess it up. A lot of times we cut game features just to make Christmas. All right. We care about what the hell have you done before? What did you do? Are you a programmer? What did you do? Did you do AI? Did you do user interface? Did you do server? Did you do client? Did you do the rendering pipeline? What exactly did you do? It's important, right? Many of us are this way. Many of us talk this way. We want to know exactly what. So if you're a producer, are you an internal producer or are you an external producer? Meaning, are you developers outside of the company? You're just one guy checking in on them on the phone or in the email, say, how are you guys doing? Or is it an in-house producer where you got to keep everyone fed, make sure everyone is happy? I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying they're different skills. So your team profile is important. Like I said before, you need a professional from game industry who has done it before. Ideally many times. So the same thing is on crypto side. Have you had someone who's done IDO, who's done IEO, who's done INO, and who's got experience in fundraising before, and who's got connections with exchanges and technical skills how to mint and all this crypto knowledge. So as they say about presentations, I've gotten a lot of trainings about presentation. And as they say about presentation, tell them. So show them who your team members are, show them why they are important, why they are good, why they're talents, and where are the key talents you have. And a lot of VCs will ask, is this guy full-time on the project already? So my recommendation is don't lie, just tell the truth. Okay, that's all I have to say about team profile. One more thing is make sure you have a really good advisory team. That's very important, because if you can't even get a good advisory team together, there's something wrong with this project. Look, in this industry, we have an expression saying, if you hire someone great, you don't need to hire anyone else. He's got a team, he's got a crew who's willing to go to hell with him, right? Because important people or seasoned people are influential and they have their followers. And why do we want to follow capable people? Why wouldn't you? I would love to follow highly successful people. So if your management team is not super senior, at least get some senior advisors. You need the wisdom on your project. Okay, number four, I put down immersiveness. So whatever you're making, metaverse or games, if you call them games, they need to be immersive. Okay, some really like games, maybe not so, but for the most part, the universe in the game is a make-believe world, and you don't want to break character, or you don't want the experience to be interrupted. So immersiveness is super important. You gotta have a whole story. Why am I rescuing the princess? Why am I doing this? Why am I going there? Why am I beating these guys and not those guys? You need a storyline, and if it's not a super heavy storyline, you need to have a light storyline, and so you don't ever want the players to leave the game. You want to have your in-game marketplace and in-game wallet, and hopefully I'm not telling you something new here, because almost everyone I talk to already agreed to this, from the game industry side and from the crypto side. So if you didn't know this, catch up. This is the new trend. The thing about Web3 games is we don't want the players to know there's some kind of blockchain, crypto technology underneath it, because they're scared of NFTs. They're scared of scammers, and there have been a lot of scamming going on. So we're gonna hide it. We just want the technology that works. We don't want to throw a whole bunch of jargons in the player's face, because players don't need to know what hard drives he's using, or what graphic card, or some CPU. So why do they need to know about blockchain? Blockchain is just there and it works. And we want good security, and we want speed, and we want low gas fee. We want all of that stuff. So what? We're gonna get all of that stuff. And is one better than the other? Yeah. You know what? Some people can split hair. I'm not gonna be splitting hair, because I am a game maker. I'm gonna focus on content. I'm gonna focus on making product on blockchain. And do I care about what blockchain? I mean, yeah, that's a separate conversation. That's not the subject. That's not that important here. So don't focus on unimportant stuff. And if you think that's important, you're in the wrong channel, because this episode is about how to make a successful Web3 business plan. All right. Number 5, consoles and mobile. Well, a lot of your business plan says, in game industry demographics is 5 billion big, and the blockchain players is only 200, 300,000 people on browsers. So how do you come over? The gamers are not on browsers. The gamers are on consoles and mobile for the most part. And yeah, there are some PC players, but we're talking about top of the line graphics, insane graphics. So okay, we'll talk about that later. But number 5 is, if you're going after gamer, like real gamers market, you gotta be mass market. You gotta have genres. I mean, okay, that's the next subject. You gotta, the game that you make needs to be competitive to classic video games. It needs to look better, at least the same, but it cannot look worse. If you make a game, you say, oh, Web3 game, even after you already have done your fundraising, and it's not up to par compared to traditional video game, and you put your game on Epic, what do you think is going to happen? You put it on Twitch, they're going to tear you into pieces. They will, because they have. So if you're going to really address the Web2 demographic, meet them at their quality demand, satisfy that quality demand, or don't do that. Just make another GameFi game for the crypto audience, GameFi audience. That's fine. I don't know how long that business model is going to last, but if you're gonna say this is a Web3 game and it's a evolution from Web2, be better than Web2 games. Don't go backward. Don't say, oh, but we have blockchain, but graphics looks like crap. That doesn't work. Graphics is a ticket for you to enter the match. Okay, I've said enough. So have a plan for console or mobile or both, or at least have it in your roadmap. But gotta tell you, going from browser to PC client to consoles to mobile, it's not a checkpoint. These are totally different skills, different problems, different challenges. Again, hire people who have done it before. Don't just talk out of your ass. All right, number 6, the last point, and this is the longest, biggest point. I'm talking about why again. Why is your project good? Why is project important? Why do the VCs have to invest in your project? Because we're in a bear market, and what that means is you want to turn your VCs into the FOMO investors. You gotta have let your VCs feel like they better not miss this one out. So think about how hard that is. That's what it takes in a bear market. So, why? Well, let's look at it from the game's perspective, because the Web3 part of it. I've said it in other episodes. You're gonna have the in-game marketplace. You're gonna have the in-game wallet. That's all technical stuff, and then you can sell, buy your NFTs, and you can trade between the players, and you can lease, and you can potentially do grinding, paid grinding. You pay someone to play your account for you, and obviously there's a lot of smart contract work that needs to be done there. You gotta justify the existence of blockchain in a video game. Then you justify the entire project to the VC. Why is your project worth investing? It's hard. It's hard, but this is the work that you want. So when it comes to video games, first explain how is this game's retention good? Why do players replay this game over and over and over and over again? Please answer that question well, because if I was looking at the proposal, that's what I look for. You can't just put a card battle game in the business plan, expecting that I'm just gonna go, oh great, it's another GameFi project and approved. No, there are hundreds of them out there. Source code all over the place. Why do people need so many card battle games? So, explain your retention well. How are you drawing players back? How do you keep them play day after day? How do you keep them staying in the game for a long time? How do you keep them engaged? And there are more than one answers, because there are different game genres within video games, and different genres players will behave differently. MMORPGs, it tends to long sessions and less number of sessions per user per day. And hyper casual games is short sessions, like 5 minutes per session, but many sessions per day, because people just they stand in the line for Starbucks and they pick up their phone and they play one match. So, or when they wait for the bus. So those games you can put it away anytime you want to. So retentions, there's no one standard answer, but it needs to be good. And look, I'm from game industry, and my last job, I'm business development guy, and I do data analysis all day long. I look at numbers all the time, and if they look intriguing, I download the game and I play it. I go to YouTube and I watch their video. So I did this for a living, and these numbers are very important. These KPIs, and if you have people from mobile game space in your team, then he should know this stuff. All right, the next one is graphics. So we touched on that a little bit. It needs to look good, but it doesn't mean it has to be 3D. There's a superstition within crypto space, and I think these people are amateurs, to be honest with you. People who just blindly go to Unreal 5 and say Unreal is the best, they're amateurs, because games are not successful because of the graphics engine they use. It's always about the gameplay. I mean, you look at some of the top grossing games on mobile, on iPhone top grossing chart. They're 2D games, but they're still pretty. So don't believe 3D games is the best. You know how old is this thinking? This thinking is 1994 or 95. It's old. It's old-fashioned and it's wrong. Do we think 3D animation is better than 2D animation? Hell no. So video games is the same. Just make sure it's good, it's quality. So I understand most of the industry is going for 3D. So if you're doing that, make sure it's good. And if you do 2D, manga, anime style, again, make sure it's good. It needs to be neat, clean, tight, and not sloppy. Okay, gameplay. What is your gameplay? What is your moment-to-moment gameplay? How does it play? How does it feel? Is it responsive? Are you interacting with other players? Is it PvP or is it single player? What is the experience? Is it skill-based? Oh, that's the next one. Anyway, so the gameplay is important. Is it fun? Fun is super important. And one of the reasons you need a game industry professional on your team, on your project, where you need an advisor, is that you need someone who understands fun. Fun for the players, not for yourself. So a lot of proposals don't convince me that they understand fun. So some people worked on successful projects, but they're not the key people. So they don't necessarily understand what makes a game fun. And this is a big subject. I'll tell you, people who feel very confident about this subject are the people who don't know enough. I'm still a student in this matter. There are many answers, and they're all good, but there's no one single fix. Okay, the next one is genre. So what genre is the game that you're making? Genre meaning, role-playing games, massive online multiplayer game, or first-person shooters, multiple MOBA online battle arena, or PUBG style, or fighting game, or match 3 game, so on and so forth. It's unlimited genres, but the mainstream genres, that's finite. I wish I had the list with me. I wrote a textbook on this subject. But anyway, be, how should I say, attentive about the genre that you're in, and fully understand that genre well. Who are the champions in that genre? Who's the best? Why is you're better, or why is you're different? Sometimes you don't have to be better, you just need to be different. Last point is game balance. So different games, especially when you're doing PvP, how do you balance the gameplay so that one player is winning, the other player lose? I put down a few criteria. The first one is strategy. So someone can win because he has better strategy. So this is very obvious in games like Dota, like RTS type games. And so the first one is strategy. Second one is skills. Skills is the most easy to understand. When you play Street Fighters, you need skills. And strategy obviously matter. It depends on who you're fighting with and his fighting style. But skills is everything in Street Fighter. I would say skill takes 90% of the deciding factors. So it depends. In PUBG is the same. So PUBG would be combination of strategy and skill. And then the next one is I call it grind/time. So if you spend a lot of time grinding in the game, and the game is RPG in nature, so your stats go up, and then you beat the monsters easier, so that's through time. I put in a lot of time and I grind, so my character and my weapons leveled up. That's another way. Number 4 is money. So some people really hate pay to win. I don't have a position with this, to be honest with you, because someone said this is anti-consumer, and I said no, game industry is not being operated by some government or some cabal, shadow conspiracy entity. No, game industry has always been consumer oriented. Game companies don't make games that don't make money. They have to make money. So if that anti-consumer, they wouldn't make money and they wouldn't exist. So if pay to win is popular, that's because some players love it. So who am I to stand in the way of something that players love? It's just what it is. I'm not gonna have a position on it. I think there's a place for it, and I think I'm not one of those people who likes to pay to win, to be honest with you. I like skill-based games, to be honest with you. I'm not a great game designer for strategy games, or even pay to win. It would piss me off if I was in Street Fighter tournament and someone paid to win. That would just mess me up, because that tournament is supposed to be skill-based. Anyway. The last one is chance. So chance plays a factor. Sometimes it's not skills, it's not strategy, it's not time or money. It's just chance. And imagine this, why do they call the casino gaming? Gaming. You know, when you say games and gaming, or at least in the United States, we know gaming means gambling, but they just call it gaming. Why? Because it's a game of chance. So it is still games, but it's 100% chance in theory. Obviously, there are games that, card games, that if you suck, you're gonna have very bad chance. And if you're good, you have better chance. But it's still, within the pre-designed probability spectrum. So anyway, long story short, most of the games, if not all games, all have some chance, some elements of chance in it, because you don't always want the better skilled players to win every time. You always want the element of surprise. So I'll repeat it again: strategy, skills, grind/time, money, and chance. These are the game balances that you can potentially use in your bag of tricks. So how do you mix them will determine what your game is. I will do my best to write down my notes in the description section, and I'll leave my email address there as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the longest one by far, but this is a heavy subject. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoy it.